Hello, hope everyone's doing well, and welcome back to Warship Wednesday. Today's subject is Asanagi, the eighth ship of the Kamikaze class. Now, when Asanagi was launched and commissioned, she wasn't known as Asanagi. She had a different name. It was Destroyer number 15. And this is on December 29th, 1924. And all her sister ships and all of the Watatake class destroyers were all launched with numbers instead of names, and they only got individual names assigned to them on August 1st, 1928. So she spent a good chunk of 4 years with just number 15 as her name. And this was changed later on because there was a lot of confusion. The soldiers did feel as though there was a lot of dignity in just being called the crew of number 15. But her name she ended up with means morning calm, with all her sister ships having names having to do something with wind, and the lead ship Kamikaze, meaning divine wind. That's what the Japanese named the typhoons that stopped the Mongol invasion, so that's how the Kamikaze name started being implemented. Now, the Kamikaze class was designed to be an improved version of the earlier Minakaze class, and very similar design wise, like visually. But the Kamikaze class was the first Japanese destroyer class to have a steel reinforced bridge, though they end up having to change the width of the ship, so the beam and the displacement make her a little heavier because of the high center of gravity having that steel bridge, which, as you expect, having that much weight make the ship a bit unstable. As a result, the ships end up being a little bit slower than the Minakaze class, which are about 39 knots, but the Kamikaze is still at an acceptable speed of 37.25 knots, which, a little bit different, but shouldn't disrupt things too much. So early in the Pacific War, I don't have much before then. Asanagi kind of bounced around, supporting various invasion fortresses when Japan was taking over all the islands in the Pacific region. And she ended up having some damage taken that made her return home in March 1942. Once these repairs were completed, she escorted convoys back to Truk, so that's one of the islands. She was a part of the planned Japanese invasion of New Guinea, but returned to her repair facility in Sasebo for additional repairs when the operation ended up being canceled. And then she ended up aiding Japanese landings on Buna in mid July 1942. And while doing this, she ended up evading an air attack, but in the process, she grounded herself on a coral reef, and once again, she had to go home for repairs. And she spent pretty much the rest of her life, so remainder of 1942 to early 1944, patrolling and performing escort duty between the various Japanese islands and their controlled overseas territories. And then on May 1944, Asanagi met her end after being torpedoed by the USS Pollock, that is a submarine. So for her skills, Fist of Fury couldn't find any historical things to do with that. So all reliable, her other skill. She's a bit of an older ship by the time World War II rolls around. A lot of other nations have started phasing out that generation of destroyers, but she's still hanging out. And, she served up until, May 1944, took some damage, got back on her feet. So, all reliable. That makes sense. And then quotes, self intro, talking about her getting an actual name, either their sympathy or they recognize her power. Like I said, there's a lack of dignity involved with, just going, oh, that's Destroyer number 15. And so she ended up getting her actual name. And then her secretary, normal touch line, talks about getting massage. Bit of an older ship. Makes sense, massage the old bones. That's all I have for Asanagi. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.